Hey guys, so let's talk a little more uh, about identity and access management, and this is going to be the boring theory part, but this is extremely critical. Well, I'm just covering the extremely critical parts, and in that extremely critical parts, this is the extremest critical part, I guess. Like, hacking is going to get more and more and more easy going forward, and security is going to get extremely critical, but like a lot of people just take it for granted right now. So but in the long term, as an ethical administrator, you need to know these things very properly. Okay, so three parts to typical identity and access management process. Encryption technically is not part of IAM, but like it is part of IAM now. Uh, so authentication, and I'm going to refer directly to the Wikipedia pages. So the authentication part means how do you prove your identity to whatever is the authorization authority. Now it could be an access token, it could be a pass, it could be a key to your lock, anything that lets you in. So this is basically at the boundary. How do you get in? How did you get through the entrance? That part is authentication. And there are a lot of different ways, and that's why I'm showing you guys uh, this page instead of the AWS page, because these are going to keep these will keep getting added uh, over the next few years, and you need to have a rough idea of what this is. uh, See, the next thing is authorization. Authorization basically uh, refers to what access do you have. So the warehouse that we talked about, you got in with your access pass. But if every door inside is locked and you don't have a pass to those doors, then basically the entrance is useless. So let's say if there are like two sections, one is bombs and ammunition, the other one is medical supplies. So you could have access to just the bombs, but not the medical supplies. And that's authorization. So in case of a computer system, what it would be, you have access to some systems, but you don't have access to some systems. And this you is usually the end user, and we have to control that access. So we need to know how that access is controlled at a pretty deep level. Once again, different ways of doing this. Here there are some internet security, automotive security, like, so just have an awareness of what this is. When it comes to encryption, there are two main types. One is encryption at rest, the other is encryption in transit. So when you refer to encryption at rest, it's basically data on a physical disk. And it could be anywhere, like it could be in the cloud, it could be in your desktop, it could be on an external drive. But that's basically data that's sitting, and unless somebody has physical access to that, it cannot be touched, right? Okay, but now in this physical media, especially if it's a portable media, it can be very easily lost, and if the data is not encrypted, the person who holds it can easily access it. So that's why it needs to be encrypted, and that's basically encryption at rest, when it is basically returned to a physical media. While encryption in transit is basically when the data is moving through the internet, well, any network, and that data can be hacked by somebody who can use those. That's a network sniffer is the official term, but it's just basically uh, so these three terms, just get them marked in your head. This doesn't get covered enough as part of certification or anywhere else. So we will cover the AWS related part in the next chapter, but this in the long term you need to know very well. Alright guys, see you in the next chapter.